Hey everyone. Those of you who are still here, um, the last video got cut short because my wife happened to call me while I was in the middle of doing this, but it ended up being kind of a good thing because I was getting a little bit long-winded there, and I'd like to try to keep these videos at around 10 minutes if I can, because anything longer than that and it's kind of hard to keep people's attention. Not saying that you have a short attention span or anything, it's just people have short attention spans sometimes, and material can sometimes get a little dry, but I'm trying to keep it interesting, and I would like to have some people view my page and hear what I have to say. I think it's a pretty cool thing to do. Oh, I got my cat up here with me too. She's probably going to end up walking in front of the camera at some point. So anyway, the book that I'm reviewing is called The GULAG Archipelago by ALEKSANDR Solzhenitsyn. I was in the middle of explaining how... Oh, come on, cat. I was in the middle of explaining how the entire system worked, and just like what happens after you get arrested, how they would basically torture and beat the confessions out of people in order to basically fill the quotas for the prison systems. Now, the reason why this book is called the Gulag Archipelago is because, there were prisons all over the entire country, but the place where he spent a majority of his time was in the frozen tundra in the northern islands in Russia. And if you don't know what an archipelago is basically a fancy name for a chain of islands. So the where I was at was, so you get arrested and they torture the confessions out of you, and then from there sometimes they may even shoot you on the spot. They may execute you right then. It's like, that's a bit crazy because they force a confession out of you, and then they're like a confession that they wrote themselves, and then would drag you outside and shoot you. It's like, that is completely insane. But anyway, numbers. It was the numbers. And I said that one of the worst things is that, the government might want their numbers and stuff. They need to fill their quotas, but the people who are enforcing these laws are the ones who are the real sadists. These are the ones. These are the worst. These are the reasons, or how this type of treatment of our fellow man is able to thrive, because of people who are capable of being monsters, basically. And so there's a part in this book where they're discussing the guards and the mentality of the guards, because you would think, oh, well, at least some of the guards would be nice out here. But you would be wrong, because the thing is that there's a rigorous training program, and basically, if you're not a stone cold son of a bitch, you don't make it. Or you just drop out, because they force you to do things that are against your morality, that are against your judgment, and you're like, I just can't. I can't. And so the people who would actually be nice either get canned or drop out, and the only thing you're left with are stone cold killing bastards. So there's no nice people. And then every so often they would take the prisoners. Well, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. There's the whole the whole prison system and how the trains take people here and they take people there and the trains are all crowded. And hey, what's up, girl? I'm still videoing.
Hi, videoing.
Hey. I don't know what I was saying. You have money? I have chocolate. I have chocolate. Kava chocolate. Kava chocolate. Probably tastes like crap.
It does. It's like...
Why would I want to eat this?
Well, because it's going to help us sleep.
All right. Well, let me finish my video.
Okay. I love
you. So, there's a whole system of trains that go throughout the country that bring prisoners from prison A to prison B, prison C, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And each prison had a name, you know. And you might expect that... Yeah, I'm kind of getting away from myself now. Every once in a while, they would force prisoners from one prison to another, just so that they didn't get too used to the way that one prison was. And you might say something like, well, maybe the next prison that I go to will be a better one. Maybe the food will be better. Maybe they'll not be so mean and murderous as they were. And it always turned out, as it seemed, that it was always just as bad, if not worse, than the place you came from. So, a lot of people, they didn't even survive the train rides. They would force people into these trains, and it was way overcrowded, and people were peeing and pooping and throwing up, and people are sick, and it's contagious, and people are getting sick from each other, and, spoiled food, and all different kinds of terrible things that came on with that. It was just a very difficult time, and it's really something to think about. There's way more going on in this book than I could ever explain without saying 1,000 frickin' times. But I really did enjoy this book for as dark as it was. The guy ALEKSANDR SOLZHENITSYN, the way that he writes and the way that he captures the days in the life of being prisoner in these places is unlike anything that I've ever read. He spent 8 years in prison, for what they claim he did, but there was that was a light sentence because some people they were handing out 10-year sentences, like bam, 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 and as the government, as the communist regime needed more and more of like, say, timber or lumber or whatever, all the stuff that they used the prison labor for, they needed more manpower to do all of this work. So they just started giving out even heavier sentences. They were giving out people 25 years at one point. They were giving them 25 years for, like, being found with extra food or something, or I can't quite remember, but it was really bad. So I guess in closing, I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping this up because, we're kind of getting towards the end. It's been a while since I've read this book. Probably wouldn't hurt to read it again, but I definitely recommend that you guys read it, because if you want to get a good glimpse into the way that things could be, I think that this is a pretty solid example. I mean, I'd say it's better that it happened out there than happen here. But don't think that it could never happen here, because believe me, humans are very bad to one another, and I mean, we can be really good to each other too. But you know, things can change in a real hurry. You know, I mean, the revolution in Russia, all of that happened. It all happened pretty quickly over the course of just a few years. So, you know, hang tight and keep on fighting for the cause of liberty, because it's a lot better than living in a Russian prison. Bye-bye.